A Dark Holiday. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
On April 29th, Scandinavians and assorted Europeans celebrate the festival of Walpurgis Night, a kind of springtime Halloween that involves saints, makeouts, Satanists, and specters. Today is, if you didn't know, the sacred holiday of Walpurgisnacht. Time to celebrate. Walpurgisnacht, or Walpurgis Night, is named after the English missionary Saint Walpurga, and sainthood was in her family. Walpurga was the daughter of Saint Richard the Pilgrim and sister of Saint Willibald, whose claim to fame was that he was the first British guy to visit Israel. Saint Walpurga, also known as Saint Walpurgis or Walburga, I'm going to be great at speaking through these names tonight, was born in Devon, England in 710 CE. When she was 11, her dad, St. Richard the Pilgrim, who was a Saxon king, quickly abdicated and left her a bunch of land. As she grew up, St. Walpurga studied medicine and became a Christian missionary to Germany, where she founded a double monastery. Walpurga is often depicted holding bandages in her hand, mending the heathens and converting them to Christianity. More than any other saint in the area, St. Walpurga dedicated her life to repel and combat the effects of witchcraft. She died on February 25th, 777, and her tomb is said to produce a strange oil similar to myrrh, called Walpurgis oil, described as, quote, an aromatic liquid with healing properties, like her own holy water, I guess. This is a kind of big Catholic thing. Oil is said to often flow from relics or burial places of saints. Those saints who are lucky enough to have their tombs ooze fancy oils is called a myroblite saint, exuding myrobligia. Sounds gross, honestly. Anyhow, not to be down on anyone's religion, Walpurga's own specific oil is supposed to heal sickness. Benedictine nuns distribute this oil in vials to Christian pilgrims who visit her tomb. That part sounds nice to me. The canonization of Walpurga and her anti-witchcraft ways was on May 1st, 870 BC, creating something called the Feast of Saint Walpurga and its eve, Walpurgis Night. Because it's a fun day to party in the spring, Saint Walpurgis became one of the most popular saints in England. Saint Walpurgis became one of the most popular saints in England, Germany, and France. When the bishop had St. Walpurgis relics moved to Eichstätt, Germany, quote, miracles were later reported from ailing people who anointed themselves with Walpurgis oil that drained from the rock at her shrine at Eichstätt. Let's take a break.
Hi, this is Jay Schiffman, the host of the Choose Your Struggle podcast. If you're hearing this, it means you listen to a pretty amazing podcast hosted by someone that I truly admire. But if you want to help end stigma and promote honest and fact-based education around mental health, substance misuse and recovery, and drug use and policy, head on over to the Choose Your Struggle podcast and give it a listen. I interview amazing guests with lived and learned experience to help change the way the world sees people like me. Yeah, because I have lived experience myself. I'm in recovery and I know how hard it can be. So head on over to the Choose Your Struggle podcast wherever you get your podcasts.
Walpurgis Day and Night became associated with May Day and regional traditions around that, but again, very anti-evil magic or witchcraft. A very wholesome holiday, super into not being witchy in any way. So much so that according to folklore, witches and evil beings began to mock the holiday, loving it even. Medieval and Renaissance tradition held that, during Walpurgis Night, witches celebrated a Sabbath and evil powers were at their strongest. In German folklore, Walpurgis Night was believed to be the night of a witches' meeting on the Brocken, the highest peak of the Harz Mountains, a range of woodland hills in central Germany. To ward off evil and protect themselves and their livestock, people would light fires on the hillsides, a tradition that continues in some regions today. It's interesting to note that Brocken is known for a phenomenon called the Brocken specter, which is when you stand in the sun and you cast an enormous shadow on the clouds, and it creates this crazy kind of shadow, like a rainbow shadow kind of bands around you. It's almost like a filter. It's very creepy and very bonkers. Anyway, Brocken leans into its witchiness and revels in witchcraft on Walpurgis Night. In Bavaria, the feast day is sometimes called Hexennacht, literally meaning witches' night, where people dress as witches and demons, set off fireworks, dance, and play loud music, which is supposed to drive the witches and winter spirits away. In modern times, Swedes embrace the hedonist and wholesome intersection of the holiday, and, well, have bonfires, have fire shows, do drugs, or in West Sweden, have a kind of Burning Man car show called Kortigen that drives through the city on Walpurgis Night every year since 1909. And when you go outside of Sweden, the celebrations get weirder. In the Czech Republic, you celebrate Walpurgis Day with a bonfire. And when the fire is almost out, you go to a blossoming tree, preferably a blossoming cherry tree, and make out under it, especially if you're a young woman, so you don't dry up that year. Ugh. Satanists in Sweden and America really own Walpurgis Night and Hexennacht. The Church of Satan was founded on Walpurgis Day in 1966. Church of Satan founder Anton LaVey states in the Satanic Bible that besides one's own birthday, Walpurgisnacht ranks as the most important satanic holiday, noting that the Eve of May has been memorialized as, quote, symboling the fruition of the spring equinox. Now the Satanic Temple celebrates it as, quote, a solemn holiday to honor those who were victimized by superstition. What will you do on Walpurgis Night? Make out, costume up, get wasted in a van? Please let us know.
I'm just so excited. It's Walpurgis Eve.
I know. What are you going to do?
Eat pizza?
Okay. I like that.